Hi there, my name is Blago and I would like to welcome you to this course which is called Master Excel Formulas, Make the Leap to the Next Level. Before starting with the materials that I've prepared here, I would like to give you a quick overview in terms of the structure of the course. So this course has 7 parts, each part has a specific number of formulas and obviously these formulas are grouped based on their frequency of use and their similarity as well. If you're here, that means that you've realized the importance of having really good analytical skills, and these skills they are improved, or they start with let's say Excel, and probably one of the most important aspects of Excel is obviously the Excel formulas, which allow you to analyze huge quantities of data, of course, and come up with the different outcomes that obviously you want to. Without wasting any more time, I would like to start with the first part of the course, which has probably the most frequently used formulas in Excel. But before that, I've included a quote of the day. I'm a big admirer of these quotes, really, because they provide the necessary motivation to just keep going. I hope and that they are going to motivate you as well. And this one states, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. There's no middle ground. So let's start with the first group of formulas. That is the sum group of formulas, which includes sum, SUMIF, and SUMIFs. So sum, probably the most simple function in Excel. In terms of the structure of the function, you need to have a start range and an end range. So a start cell, really, and an end cell as well. When is this function used? It is used every time you want to actually sum something. Then SUMIF and SUMIFs. These two formulas, they allow you to sum based on a specific criterion or criteria. So SUMIF allows for the summation of a range of cells that meet a specific criterion, whereas SUMIFs allows for the same thing but with more than one criteria. And if I show you an example now for all these formulas, sum here, what we can do is we have this range here and we want to sum it, and this is what we do. So the sum here is 56. In another scenario, what we can do is we can just select the specific cells that we want to sum, and then separate them using either semicolon, as in this case, or just a comma, because most of the Excel versions they use just a comma, but my version here uses the semicolon, so that's why I'm using semicolon here. So this is what we get. So 1 plus 3 plus 4 equals 8, and then the SUMIF here. If we just type in the formula, and now we need to find the volume for the grapes, the pears, apples, and oranges, based on the volumes that we have in this range here. Just to delete this one here first of all. So now, if you remember, SUMIF usually starts with the criterion range. So this is the criterion range. I'm just gonna go and fix it with the dollar signs. Then I'm going to select grapes, which is obviously our first example, and then I have this sum range here. So we get 338. So the volume for the grapes in our sum range is 338. We can either drag this formula down, or we can just copy paste it, really, to get the volumes for the other types of fruit as well. Now, using SUMIFs, so the example that I have for SUMIFs here, asks us to find the total sales in Walmart for all the wines that have a price of $6.99 here. So if we just start typing the function some ifs, and then we need to start with the sum range first. If you remember the structure of the formula, and then the first criterion range should be the price here, and we go select that range, and we separate that using the semicolon, and then we select the price here as well, and then we need to go and do the same for the second criterion range, which is here, and then we need to select Walmart. So what we get is total sales of 134,739 units for Walmart for the wine that costs $6.99. Okay, so going back to the presentation now, what we have, the next group of formulas is average, the average group of formulas. So the logic of these formulas is pretty similar to the logic for the sum formulas as well, and again the structure is very similar as well. So just to give you an example, now I'm going to go to the spreadsheet that I have here again, and go to the examples for average. So just to show you, we have average, and we just go select the range here, and we do this. So 5.09 is the average. Again, if we just go and do the same for these cells here, we have how many cells? 3 cells that we need to get the average for, and 267 is the average. Now the example for the average if is here, and what we need to do is we need to get the average for the types of fruit that we have here. So we can start typing the formula, and now we need to select the criterion range first. I'm going to fix it, and then we need our criterion, which is here, and now the sum range, sorry, the average range. Now this is what we do. We get 169. Now if we copy the formula for all the fruits there and change the formatting or the number of numbers after the comma, we get this. The example for average ifs is here again. The same example, Walmart and the wine that costs $6.99. We need to get the average sales here, and this is what we are going to do. So we have the range again, and now I am just going to make this range permanent or fixed, and then we have the criterion range, which in this case, well, the first criterion range is here. That's obviously the price range, and then select the price here as well, and then the second range here is the retailer's name, and then we have Walmart. In the end, we get 67,370 as the average total sales for Walmart for the $6.99 wine. Now, going back to the presentation, the next group of formulas is the count group. So we have again, like, count, countif, and count ifs. When are they used? So count is obviously used when you need to get, let's say, the number of specific cells. You need to count, let's say, a number of specific cells, and obviously you have count if and count ifs, which basically allow for a condition to be inserted as well. Exactly the same logic as the previous two, but obviously in this case it is counting, it is not summing, it is not averaging, it is counting. Now if I go to the examples here, which just under the average, so what we have here is a range of cells. This is our range of cells, and if we want to count them, we can just use the count formula, and this is going to give us the number of cells in this range, which is 12. Okay, now going to the count if example, so what we have here, we have conditions. The conditions are grapes, pears, apples, oranges, and then the other condition is 150. So we first of all we need to find how many times grapes is actually in this range here. So if I fix the range again with F4, the dollar signs, and then use grapes as the condition, it's going to give us 2. Now if I go and paste this here for the pears, apples and oranges, we get 2, 2, 3, 2. Now this example is slightly different because it requires a sign to be inserted, so the range in this case is going to be the numbers range here, and now we need to put quotes and then put this, and then obviously 150. So the formula is going to go to the range that we have selected, and is going to count all the numbers that are less than 150. That's basically what's going to happen. So as you can see, it gives us a result of 2, and this is obviously the first number that is less than 150, and the second number is this one. So it is correct. Now if we go to the count ifs example, so what we have here is we need to get the players from Real Madrid that are over the age of 30, and in order to do that we have 2 conditions first of all. Now because there's no specific kind of sum range or let's say average range here, we always start with the criterion range. So in this case the first criterion is going to be Real Madrid, so the range should be the teams here. So now if we actually select this range and then select the condition here, and after that we need to select the age of the players on the left, and now I'm going to fix that again, and now I need to use the quotes and bigger sign, and then we can just do this bigger than 30 basically. So this is what we're looking for, how many players from Real Madrid from obviously this table are actually over the age of 33, and it's going to give us 2, because as you can see there are only 2 Real Madrid players here, and both of them at the age of 33, so the formula is correct. Now going back to the presentation, the next group of formulas, or this is more kind of like one formula really, but which has a lot of variations, is the if statement. This is one of the most important formulas in Excel because it is very applicable in many of the analysis that are done here, of course. So when is that used? So the if statement is used when the user needs to, let's say, assess a statement, and if the statement is correct, it should show a specific input or output in this case, and then if the statement is not correct, then it should show obviously another output. So as you can see, apologies. So as you can see, we have the structure here. So if the expression is true, give us outcome 1. Otherwise, give us outcome 2, for example. Okay. So now, if I go to the example sheet again and find the example for if, which should be just down here. So what we have is we have a number of retailers, as you can see here, and then their turnover and also their profit. Now we need to evaluate whether this makes sense, because obviously in most cases, not in most cases, every single case, the profit cannot be bigger than the turnover. So what we can do is we can start the if statement now and just do something like this. If turnover is less than profit, for example, then we need an output of not true. Otherwise, we need an output of true. And let's see what this is going to show. Apologies again, because I need to use the semicolon instead of the comma. Now the outcome here is not true, the result, because 182 is bigger than 165. So if we just go and copy this formula to all the other cells here, now this is what we are going to get. Now 165 is less than 182, so that's why the evaluation here shows this, the outcome shows not true. Same for obviously Tesco here. However, Asda and Waitrose, they have the numbers seem to be well, correct, let's say, in our example, and the last two examples, again, not true, because the turnover in them is less than the profit. Now going back to the presentation, and the next group of formulas, that is the lookup formulas, VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. The first formula, VLOOKUP, is probably one of the most frequently used formulas in Excel. So what it does, it looks up and retrieves data from a specific column in a table. What is the structure of the formula? So we need to get, first of all, we need to select the value that needs to be looked up, then obviously the range in which that value needs to be looked up, and then which column the formula should retrieve data from, and then I have written here false, but it can be true as well. False ensures that an accurate outcome is provided, whereas if this is true, the outcome can be approximate as well. So HLOOKUP is pretty similar, but this formula actually retrieves data based on rows rather than columns here. Okay, so if I show you the examples now, it will probably make it more clear. So the market cap of the example here is about companies and their market capitalization, really, in let's say billions of US dollars. So we need to find the market capitalization for Amazon, and in order to do that, we need to use VLOOKUP, and this is how it is used. So as you can see, the lookup value should be put here first. So this is our lookup value, and then the range should be selected. So this is again, I have used the comma instead of the semicolon, and now we select the range, and the range is obviously this here, and then the column that we need to retrieve data from is actually the second column from our range, and then we need an exact outcome. So I have used the commas again. We need to obviously make sure that we use the semicolon, and this is what we get. So as you can see, Amazon's value here, market value, is $684 billion, and this is what we get using the VLOOKUP formula, which is correct. And now the example for the HLOOKUP is basically we have a few names here together with the age for each person here, and we need to find the age of Maria, and in order to do that we can use the HLOOKUP, and the lookup value in this case is Maria, and our range is the range here. So what we can do now is select second row from our range, because that's where we should get the outcome from. And if I just replace the comma with semicolon again, so we get 44. Again, this is an exact match. Okay, now going back to the presentation, after this group of formulas we have concatenate, and this is another very frequently used formula. What it does, it basically allows the user to let's say merge the values of two cells in one cell, really, or more than obviously two cells, as you can see from the structure of the formula here. Okay, so if I go to the example sheet again and find the example for concatenate to make it more clear. Now what we have here is we have a column of first names, and then we have a column of surnames as well. Okay, but what we need is we want to put the first name and the surname in one cell, and we can also put space between the first name and the second name. So in order to do that, we start typing concatenate, and then we open the bracket, and then we select the first name. Now we need quote and then space, and then again closing quote, and then the second name, which in this case is C59, that's cell C59. Now we close this, and what we get is, after replacing again the comma with the semicolon, we get Jimmy Connor, and we can just copy the formula for all the other examples. So this is how we use the concatenate formula. Now going back to the slide again, the next set of formulas is max and min. So it's easy to guess what these formulas actually do. So the max formula allows for the maximum value for a specific range to be let's say shown as the outcome here, whereas the minimum does the same but for the minimum value. And again, the structure of both formulas is very similar. So you have max, and then we need the range in which to get the maximum value from, and then the minimum is pretty much the same thing. Now, just to show you the example, here's what we get, and now the maximum is from this range here. The maximum is 93, and then minimum is 20. Okay, now the next slide has AND and OR. So these are two logical functions which are very often used, especially in combination with the if statement formula that we discussed earlier in this course. So AND basically is a logical function which allows to check whether multiple statements are true. It is going to show false if one statement, for example, is false, but it is going to show true only in the case where all statements are actually correct. Whereas, for example, OR will show true when at least one of the statements that we have actually added is true. So if we have, like, 3 statements, as in this case here, and 2 of them are false, 1 is true, it is going to show true. Now I want to show you the examples for these formulas as well. So if I start with AND, so AND this, let's say, is if I58 is equal to let's say I59, so obviously 20 is not equal to 36. That's why AND is not going to give us true. So this is just one condition, though. If we can also insert another condition, and that can be let's say this is less than 63. Now as you can see, we have one condition which is not true. This is the condition that is not true, and then the second condition is true, however, and shows us false, and that is the main difference between AND and OR. Now if I show you the same example but with OR, so this equal to I59 and then I60, again I need to use the semicolon, so I60 is less than I61. So this will show us true. As you can see, it does show us true, and as I said, this is the main difference between AND and OR. So here, for example, what we can do, we can change the sign in the first statement or equation, and then we can just say less again. So now both of them are true. Now AND is going to give us true as well. So this is what we get here. Okay, so going to the next set of formulas, we have proper, lower, and upper. So proper, so all these functions are actually used for text, really, and they're usually used to kind of change, let's say, the capitalization of the letters, really. So basically, proper is used when a range has text that is not formatted correctly. There might be capital letters where there should be, let's say, lowercase letters, and that's what proper is used for. It goes there and it changes that. The structure, again, very easy. We just need to select the range. Lower is basically what it does. Once we select the range or the cell, it will convert all letters, all characters into small case, lowercase letters, really. Whereas upper does the opposite. So now, if I show you the examples for these functions as well, which here. They're actually on this side. And now I can go and use proper, for example, here. Okay, if I use proper and select this, for example, this is what I get as my end result. So all words will start with a capital letter, and everything that was capital before and was not supposed to be, of course, has been changed to lowercase, as you can see here. Okay, now I can do the same for the rest of the examples, and just to show you. Okay, so this is what proper does. Now if I go and use the lower function again for all of them, so as you can see, lower, the lower function just converts everything into lowercase letters, really. So here we go, just to show you everything here. Okay, so as you can see, this example here has quite a few capital letters, and all of them actually just converted into lowercase letters. Now just to show you the example with upper, which is pretty much the opposite of lower, and this is what upper does. Okay, converts everything into capital letters. Okay, now going back to the presentation. Now the next two functions we have are trim and clean. Trim is a very useful function because it removes any unnecessary empty spaces in a statement, and the structure again is like very, very simple. All we need to do is actually select the cell or the range. Clean does something a little bit different. It is used to remove non-printable characters in Excel. Again, the structure is is the same as obviously the trim function. So let me show you what I mean by this by giving you a couple of examples. Okay, now going down here, let me just delete this. Now what I can do is I can use the trim function here. So as you can see, this example here has quite a few spaces between the different words here. Okay, so what trim is going to do, it is going to just remove the unnecessary spaces there. It is going to leave just one space between each word, and this is what it does. Now if I show you that for all of them, you're going to see more clearly, and this is what we get. Okay, now to demonstrate how clean works as well, so clean usually removes non-printable characters, and this character here, this question mark, is actually non-printable. Is a non-printable character. Okay, and now what we can do is we can select this range or this cell, and we can use clean here. So as you can see, clean removes the non-printable character, okay, but it does not remove the unnecessary spaces between the two words. So what we can do, we can use trim on top of clean to actually remove this, remove the unnecessary spaces as well, and this is what we get in the end. Okay, so right, so this was the example for clean. Okay, so this is basically the end of the first part of this course. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I would like to leave you again with another quote that I really like. Repetition is the mother of learning, and it has helped me a lot through all the different challenges that I have faced so far, and I really hope that this is going to motivate you to just like keep going really, and just learn and just go through again, let's say, through some of the things that we discussed so far. Okay, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me using the comment section. Okay, so have a good day or evening. Hi there, welcome to the second part of this course, which is called Master Excel Formulas, Make the Leap to the Next Level. I hope you enjoyed the first part, and I hope you're ready to go through another set of formulas here in this second part. So without wasting any more time, let's start first of all with the quote of the day for this second part of the course, and it states, "Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out," and that is so true. You have heard this like everywhere really, that everything that is actually worth having, worth knowing, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes consistency of this effort as well, so you have to repeat it every day. So the first set of formulas, they have to do with the count group of formulas. However, these two formulas are slightly different compared to what we went through in the first part of the course. So count A and count blank. So as you can see, count A is used to count the number of cells in a range that are not empty, whereas the count blank formula counts the number of blank cells in a range. And the structure of these two formulas is pretty similar. It's actually the same. All you have to do is actually enter the range in which you want to count the specific number of cells that have values or that are empty. Let me give you an example of these two formulas being used, and going to the spreadsheet again. Now what I want to do, I want to count the number of cells in this range that are not empty. So I start typing the count A formula, and I need to go and select the range, of course, and this is what happens once you press enter. So in this range here we have 4 cells that are not empty, and as you can see, this is true as well. Now let's count the blank cells in that same range really, to see what we are going to get, and enter again. So as you can see, we have 3 empty cells in this range, which is again true. Okay, now going back to the presentation, the second set of formulas here is left, right and mid. These formulas have to do with extracting a specific number of characters from a range, from a cell. Okay, so the left formula returns the first n number of characters, or spaces of course, in a cell in the left to right order. Okay, the structure of the formula is, first we need to enter the cell, and after that we need to specify how many characters we need to extract from that cell. The right formula is the opposite of the left formula. It starts from the right and it goes to left, really. And again, the structure is pretty similar. Okay, so you need to have the cell and then the number of characters, and then the mid formula returns n number of characters in a left to right order, starting from a user specified point. Okay, so as you can see, the structure of the formula here is we need the cell again, we need the starting point, and we need the number of characters. Now, if I go back to the spreadsheet here, let's see what we have in this example. So here I need to get, from this cell, I need to get the first 4 characters or spaces using the left formula. And doing that, I get this. Okay, so as you can see, the first 4 characters is the word half. Okay, now if I go and do the right formula here and take the first 8 from right to left, again the same cell. Okay, this is what we're going to get. Good day. Okay, again, as you can see, good day has exactly 7 letters, but it also has 1 empty space between good and day. Okay, so that's why we have 8 extracted characters here. Now the mid formula, we can use it by doing, well, highlighting the cell that we need, and after that let's start at character 8 or space 8 and then go for 5 characters there. So 5 characters should be extracted in a left to right order, starting from character number 8 or space number 8. Okay, so this is what we get. We get good. So if I, what this means basically is that starting from character number 8, we have half is 4 characters, then empty space, that's 5, A is 6, empty is 7, and then start from good, which basically means that we have extracted 5 characters. So good and the empty space between good and day is included in this result here. Okay, so the next set of formulas, or the next formula here, is the len formula. It purely returns the length of a text string. Okay, so just to give you an example again, it's a very straightforward formula, of course. Now the example is here, and if I use the len function here, I'm going to get 4. So half is exactly 4 characters. Okay, there's no empty space there, so that's why it returns 4. Now I can go and copy this formula everywhere. Okay, now, and this is what we get. Okay, day is 3, 1, 5, exception is 11. So as you can see, exception has 8 characters really, but because there are a few empty spaces as well, they have been counted, and that's why the formula returns 11. Okay, now going back to the presentation, the next 2 formulas we have, days and network days. These 2 formulas are quite useful. Okay, so when are they used? Days is used to return the difference between 2 specific dates. So the structure of the formula suggests that we start with the end date and then we enter the start date as well, whereas network days returns the number of working days between 2 dates. The user, of course, can include any holidays besides the weekends, of course. So the holidays here, the holidays part is optional, so that's why I've put that in squared brackets. Okay, so let me give you an example of this as well. So if I go to the example for these formulas, we have the example for days here. Okay, so I am going to start typing the formula now. The end date here for me is 30th of July, whereas the start date is 17th of July, and what I'm going to get is 13. Okay, so if I were to type the formula again and start with the start date and then the end date, this is what I am going to get. Okay, we get minus 13. Okay, so that's why we need to start with the end date first. Network days. So again, we have 2 dates, and we need to find the number of working days between these 2 dates. Okay, so the start date here is in F16, the end date is in F17. Okay, I'm not going to use any holidays, so I'm just going to close the brackets now, and what we get is we have 5 working days between these 2 dates. Okay, so as you can see, there are in total 7 days here, in this period between 20th of September 2019 and 26th of September 2019, but 2 of these days are actually weekends. Okay, now the next set of formulas are SQRT and SQRT pi. SQRT is a very often used function. It is used to return the square root of a number. The structure is you purely have to type in the formula and then enter a number inside the brackets, whereas SQRT pi does return the square root of a number, but before giving you the final outcome, it actually multiplies it by pi. Pi is obviously 3.14. The approximate value of pi is 3.14. Okay, and the structure is the same as the SQRT number. Okay, now to give you an example of this, let's just go to the spreadsheet again. Now what we have here is this. Now if I wanted to use the SQRT, I'll just type in the function and then enter the number on the range here. Okay, so the square root of 4 is actually 2. Okay, we can obviously just remove the numbers after the decimal point. Okay, and what we get is the integer number here. Okay, now if I just copy the formula in the other 2 cells as well, what I get is 1.77 is the square root of 3.14, and 354 is the square root of 1256. Okay, now what I want to do now is use the SQRT pi. Okay, so if I use the SQRT pi here for 12.56, what I'm going to get is 6.28. So how does this work? The way this formula works is, first of all, it is going to multiply 12.56 times 3.14. Okay, and then this is what we get. Okay, and then it is going to give us the square root of this number here, and this is what we get, 628. Right, now just to go back to the presentation now, the next set of formulas, it is only one again, so it is the absolute formula, or the ABS. It returns the absolute reference of a number. So what does this mean really? once I give you the example, it will become quite clear how this formula works and what it does exactly. So if I just scroll down here to go to this example, so as you can see, we have a range of positive and negative numbers. The absolute formula, or the ABS formula, is going to give us the absolute reference, which basically means that the sign of the number will be removed and there's going to be only one number left. As you can see, the absolute reference of -2 is 2. Okay, this is quite a mathematical formula, but it can serve you quite well when you're obviously doing analysis, just to convert numbers from let's say negative to positive. So this is what we get here. So as you can see, the positive numbers 7 and 9, obviously they don't have any sign again, but like the results here are actually all absolute references, which basically means numbers without any signs really. Okay, now just want to go back to the presentation now again and show you the next two formulas. These are now and today. They're very frequently used, especially the today formula. So the today formula returns today's date, whereas the now formula returns today's date and the current time. Okay, so as you can see, both formulas they do not take any arguments inside the brackets, so all you have to do really is type in the formulas in the cells, and you're going to get an answer. So let's do that now then. Okay, so now if I use the now formula, this is what I get. Okay, so it's the 1st of March 2019, 8:26 in the morning. Okay, whereas the today formula is going to give me just the date. The date is 1st of March 2019. Okay, now I used the European format of dates. Okay, so just if you're from America, for example, from the United States, you have it a little bit different there. But again, the whole point here is just to show you how these two things, these two functions really work. Right, going back again to the presentation, we have another three formulas here, which are one of the most frequently used again. So round, round up, round down. Okay, so what do they do? Round, it rounds a number to the nth specified decimal really. Okay, and it rounds up or down at 0.5. I'll show you what this means, so I just want to explain the round up and round down as well. Okay, round up, it does the rounding, but in closest to, let's say, the the next kind of like highest number, the next number that is obviously like after the specified number, depending on how many decimal points you want to leave or you want to round this up to anyway. And the round down, it rounds down the highlighted number to the nth specified decimal. So let me show you an example of this as well. Now going here, we have basically the same number, and I'm going to use the three different formulas here. Okay, so if I use round of 3.79 and I don't want any numbers after the decimal point, okay, so sorry, I just need to use the semicolon again, and if I do this, I will get 4. Right, now if I use the round up function, I'm going to get I need to specify here 0. Okay, I'm going to get 4 again, whereas the round down formula will show me 3 in this case, because I'm going to have 0 numbers after the decimal point. Okay, the end result 443. Right, if we had 3.49, for example, and then we use the round formula, this would give us 3 instead of 4, because as I said earlier, the round formula, it rounds up or down based on whether it's bigger or obviously smaller or higher or lower than 0.5. Right. Okay, so if I go back to the presentation now again, the next two formulas we have, they're quite famous in Excel really, and they're a must know really. The index and match, and of course the combination of these two formulas, the index match formula. Right, the index formula, it is going to return the nth index value in a specific array. Okay. I'll show you what I mean by that, but I just want to explain first of all the structure. So we need to have the array and then the row number, and then if we want the column number as well. Okay. Then the match function returns the array index of a value. So we need to specify first of all the value, and then the array in which we need to look for that value. And then the match type is either 0 or 1. So 0 is going to give us the exact match, whereas 1 is going to give us an approximate match. The index match formula, it is used to get the value in an adjacent array to the array in which a value is actually looked up in. Okay, this is how it looks. We start with the index formula, we specify the lookup array, okay, and then we need to get basically the array index from the match formula here, okay, in order for our index formula to work after that. I'll show you what I mean after I give you examples for these formulas, okay. And now if I just scroll down again, so here's what I have. So as you can see, we have two arrays here, two ranges, right? Okay, the first range is full of names, and the second range is full of numbers, be that age, whatever, doesn't matter. Now, what we're going to do is use the index formula. Excuse me. So the index formula is used in this way. Right, now if I were to select this array here, okay, and if I wanted to get the second value in the array, this is what I do. I'm going to get this name, Tyra, for example, okay. Now if I go and use the match formula, I need to specify what I'm actually looking for first of all. So let's say I'm looking for Brian. I need to type in Brian in double quotes. Okay. Now I need to specify the range. So again, I need to use the semicolon. So if I specify the range on the array here, and then I need 0, okay, because I'm looking for an exact match. Now this is going to give me 5, which basically means that Brian is actually located in the 5th cell here, okay, starting from C33. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is Brian. Okay, now the combination of these two formulas is very interesting. Okay, so and it is very widely used. Now what I need is, first of all, I need to specify the array from which I need to get the end result, okay, and this is going to be D33 to D40. I can just use the F4 to fix the range, okay, and after that I will use the match formula. So what we need now is we can try and identify the index of, let's say, every single name here. Okay, now I'm going to do this. I'm going to select the first name here. Okay, I'm not going to make it fixed. Okay, and then I'm going to select a range as well. So the range is going to be, in this case, C33 to C40. Again, make it fixed. Okay, and now we need to add 0 and then close the match function and then close the index function as well. So this is what we're going to get. Just 1 second, as I fused the obviously the comma again instead of the semicolon. Now if I do this, we get 35. Okay, so what this means is that we can use the index match formula in a very similar way as the VLOOKUP. Okay, but we can also use this index match in ways that the VLOOKUP formula cannot be used. But let me just first of all show you all the results here that we can get. Okay, so this is what we get. Using the VLOOKUP function will give us the same answers here, the same outcome. Okay, but the index formula can be, the index match formula, apologies, it can be used in the opposite order. So for example, what we can do is we want to let's say get results in from this array here. Okay, now this is the array we want to get the final outcome from, and now what we need to do is we need to start obviously identifying which indices we need to kind of like, you know, find in the second array here. Okay, now this is D33 and we want that in the range, we want to find that in D33 to D40 again. Okay, now let's make this fixed and add 0, close the formula. So this is what we get. Now, as you can see, we get the names based on the numbers or the age in the second column here. Okay, now if I type in the formula in all the other cells as well, this is what we get. We get the names. Okay, so now as you can see, we have used index match in a way in which VLOOKUP cannot be used. Okay, right, now let me just go back to the presentation and show you the next two formulas that we have here, week num and week day. So very frequently used formulas and very useful as well. The week num formula returns the week number of a specific date, whereas the weekday formula returns the number of day in the week. So what we need in terms of the structure is it's basically pretty similar. Okay, the week num and weekday, they both need a date to be entered from a specific cell, for example, and then a return type. You will see what I mean by return type in the examples that I am going to give you now. So this is the spreadsheet with the examples. So the week number, as you can see, we have a date here. Okay, that's 12th of December 2016. Now, if we want to get the week here from this date, we can use the week num function, and then after that, this is the return type really that we can actually choose obviously from there quite a few options. So if I just press 1, for example, it is going to start the counting of the weeks from a Sunday, which I don't want, so that's why I can actually just go and do Monday. But as you can see, there's also 21 Monday here as well. Now what this option means, 21, it means that it includes week 53 as well. So I'm going to go and do that. I'm going to select the 21, that option. Okay, so this is what I get. So you can see this is week 50. 12th of December 2016 is week 50 from obviously that year, of course. Now the weekday is pretty similar. Now I can just go select the date again, and then the return type. So as you can see, there are quite a few options again, and I can select one of many options really. Now I want to select Monday through Sunday, so I can go, let's say, week 2 in this case, and this is what I'm going to get, which basically means that 12th of December 2016 was a Monday, really. Okay, now going back to the presentation, as you can see, this is the end of the second part of this course, and again I want to leave you with the same quote as obviously at the end of the first part of the course. Repetition is the mother of learning. I have left this quote here for a second time because I just wanted to emphasize on how important it is for you to repeat obviously the things, go over the things that we have discussed in this second part, and even in the first part as well, if you do not understand something. And again, as usual, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me using the comment section of this course. Right, again, have a good day, or have a good evening, and I'll see you in the third part of this course. Welcome to the third part of this course, which is called Master Excel Formulas, Make the Leap to the Next Level. I really hope that you enjoyed the first 2 parts of the course, and that so far you have actually gained an idea how the formulas are actually used. Now, as usual, we are going to start with a quote of the day, which in this case is, it does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. And this is quite true really, because a small progress every day will take you very far in life, as they say. So starting with the first set of formulas, this is the sum and offset. This is more like a combination really, because offset is a formula that usually goes with other functions such as sum or average. So what does it do? So basically it allows for a dynamic range to be, let's say, summed or to be averaged, etc., etc., etc. What is the structure of sum of offset? As you can see, we need to have a range reference, and then rows, columns, height, and width. You will see what I mean by all these things when I give you the example. So as you can see, you have an example here as well, but let me just go to the sheet with the examples. So here, what I have prepared is a few columns with numbers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the sum offset combination, and I'm going to try and sum the numbers starting from C5 and going to E5. Okay, but I'm going to use obviously offset Right, so just to show you how this works, so first of all we need a reference cell. So if this reference cell, let's say, is C4, now this means that we need to go one row down, really, in order to get to the start range of what we are supposed to sum. So we need to do rows, we need to do 1, okay, which basically means that we are going down one row, okay. Columns, we do not need to go to the left or go to the right in terms of the columns, because it is actually you know, the same column that we need to start from, okay. And then we have height and width, which are usually optional functions, but we are going to use them in this case. So the height basically means this, really, how many rows, really. And in this case we have a height of 1, whereas the width is going to be 3, because we have 3 different cells that we need to sum, okay. And this is how the formula looks like. You need to have, as I said, a reference cell, and our reference cell at the moment is C4, and based on that reference cell we determine the rows and columns here, okay, and then the height and the width as well. So if I press enter, you're going to see that the result is 15, and again, this is the result of the summation of these 3 numbers. As I said, this formula is usually used when you try to create a dynamic range which needs to be summed, okay. Now let me go back to the presentation. The next formula is choose. It's a very frequently used formula again. So what does it do? It allows you to pick a specific value by specifying its index, okay. The structure of the formula is as follows. You have the index number that obviously you need to specify, and then you need to have a specific number of values, really, within the formula as well. So I'm going to show you how this works by going to the spreadsheet to give you an example, okay. So what we have here, we have a column with numbers and a column with letters, okay. So now we're going to use the numbers here as our index, okay. So if I start typing choose and then I pick, let's say, 2, okay, which is age 5, and then after that I need to individually select these values here, okay. And now what this means is that now the formula is looking for the second value, which is specified by the age 5 here, within I4, I5 and I6, obviously the values that we have specified here. So if I press enter, we get P, which basically means that the second value within this range is P, okay. Now if I wanted to get the first, I just need to go and do a H4, that's obviously J, and similarly for obviously H6, we get G. Right, going back to the presentation again, the next formula is cell. Cell, sometimes it can be quite useful, really. What it does, it provides information, various details about a specified cell. The structure of the formula is obviously here as well. So first of all, we need to specify the input type, and then the reference is an optional thing, really. I'll show you what I mean by reference, but the input type is this. So I have included this screenshot as well. So you have all these different details that you can actually choose from, choose what to get as an outcome, okay. Now if I go to the spreadsheet to show you an example, this is the example, really. So now I want to have the outcome to be the content of this formula, okay, sorry, of this cell, which is K4. And now you can see that we get the value of K4 here, okay. Basically, that reference, the optional thing here that obviously I showed you in the structure of the formula is pretty much this. We just need to select a cell, and obviously that cell then will, its value will be taken, its content will be taken, and it's going to be shown here. Okay, fine. Now let's go to the presentation to see what the next formula is, and it is a very, very frequently used formula. Some product, sometimes some people perceive this formula as being quite complicated, but it is actually not complicated. What it does is it allows you to multiply arrays together and then sum the products of that process. For example, the structure here, it shows you might have, let's say, 2 arrays, okay? And then the values within each array, for example, they will be multiplied, and then these outcomes will be summed to get, like, you know, the final outcome, okay? Let me give you an example here as well. What we have is this here, okay? So as you can see, we have 2 ranges or 2 arrays, for example, with values, okay? So I'm going to type the sum product formula here, okay? Because I'm going to show you something else as well. So the first array is obviously this one, and then the second array is this one, okay? And this is what we get. We get 140 as the final outcome. But how is this actually calculated? So the way this sum product formula works is basically you have the first array, you have the second array, and now this is multiplied by this, and then this by this, etc, 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 and then we get, like, you know, outcomes here, and these outcomes are actually summed. So I'll show you that this is actually the case as well. So if I do this and multiply here, okay, and then just do this one as well. So as you can see, we have 10, 24, 42, and 64, which, as you can see here, the sum of this is 140. You can actually just use a sum formula just to make sure that that is correct, okay? And this is what we get, okay? Great. Now the next 2 formulas are if error and XOR. If error is probably one of the most used formulas in Excel. What it does is it ensures that there is an alternative, let's say, outcome in case that the operations inside the if error brackets actually, well, will actually return an error, okay? The XOR, the other formula, is another logical formula here, another logical function, and it returns true. If there's only 2 operations and if only one is true, then it will return true, okay? If both of them are true, it will return false. And then if there are more than, obviously, 2 operations inside the brackets, the function returns true only if the number of true operations inside is actually odd, okay? Now let me show you what I mean by all this, okay, by giving examples. So first of all, the if error. So the way the if error works is this. So let's say we are going to use VLOOKUP, and we want to look up the name Brian within here, okay, and return a result from the second column, okay? And this is how it should look. And now, in case that the VLOOKUP part of this formula returns an error, we want our formula to return not found. Okay, so as you can see, there's no Brian, so the VLOOKUP formula inside will return an error. Okay, so which basically means now we have ensured that in case of an error, we have a specific outcome that will be returned. Okay, now an example with XOR. So let's have just two operations, for example. Okay, so this is bigger than this, for example, and then this is bigger than 3. Okay, so now as you can see, both of these operations inside here are true. Okay, now and because of that, XOR returns false. As I said, when there are only two operations inside the brackets of the XOR function, what happens is it returns false. Okay, but now, for example, if one of these is actually not true, let's just change the sign here in the first operation. Now it's going to return true because 3 is not bigger than 15, but 10 is bigger than 3. Okay, so this is these are obviously the two operations that we have here. Now let's insert another operation. Okay, so now we have one true and one false. Okay, but if we do insert another operation which is true, let's say this one, it will return false again because now we have two true operations and one false. And from obviously the presentation, from what we stated there, and that obviously when there are more than two operations inside the brackets, if the number of the true operations is even, it is going to return false. If the number of true operations is odd, it's going to return true. And now let me show you a true outcome as well by adding another operation that is going to be true. Okay, so now we have 3 operations here that are actually true. Okay, and the first one is actually false. Now this means that the end result is going to be true. Right, okay, so let's go back to the presentation. The next two formulas, the next set of formulas are large and small, very frequently used formulas again, and quite easy really. So what large returns is it returns the nth largest value in an array, okay, whereas the small function returns the nth smallest value, and the structure is basically the same. So let me give you the examples here as well. Now if I go down here, so the example, let me just delete this as well. So here we need to return the third largest value from this array. Okay, so this is our array, and we want the third largest value, which is 44 in this case, and let's check if it's true. So we have 88 is the biggest one, it's the largest one, then we have 79, and then 44 is the third largest value. Okay, now we need here the second smallest value within this array, and as you can see, this is the array, and now we need the second smallest, and the second smallest is 40. So as you can see, the smallest value here is 23, second smallest is actually 40. Okay, great. Now the next formula is the rank formula. It's a very interesting formula. Not many people actually know about it, but it's extremely useful when you need to rank, let's say, specific numbers within a range. Okay, so basically, as I said, it purely returns the rank of a number within a range. If there are two numbers that are the same, it returns the rank of the first for the second one as well. So that's why we use rank.eq. Okay, I'll show you what I mean by giving you an example here as well. Okay, so now rank .eq, okay, is this, and now we need, let's say, the number here, and we need the reference range. So this is the reference range, and I'm going to fix the range as well, so you can see. So this is the fourth largest value really within our array. Okay, so now if I just go and populate this formula for the other cells as well, so the number one rank is for 5 because 5 is the biggest value. Now as you can see, we have 4 and 4 because 1 and 1 actually, well, they're basically the same number. Okay, and that's why we use the rank.eq formula, because it gives us the same rank for a number that is obviously repeated more than once within our range or array. Okay, now let's go to the next formula, which is the repeat formula. What the repeat formula does, it repeats a text or a number a specific number of times. Okay, so the structure of the formula is you have the text or the number, and then we repeat it like a specific number of times, as I said. So let me give you an example here. Okay, so this is our number, and this is the number of times we need to repeat it. So if I use the repeat formula here, okay, and select this, and then after that repeat this 3 times, this is what we get. Okay, now if this wasn't a number, if it was let's say a character, a letter, for example, T, this is what happens. So 3 times, and if we want to repeat it let's say 8 times, for example, this is what happens as well. Again, if we want to turn it back to a number, this is what happens. Okay, now going back to the presentation, the next 2 formulas, replace and substitute, they're very useful formulas, and obviously there is a little bit of a difference in obviously the structure and in what they do really, but like you know, the whole point of these 2 formulas is to replace let's say a specific text within an already existing let's say text or range. Okay, so let me just give you the example here as well. So this is what we have now. Here I am going to use replace, and now replace usually starts with the range. So this is our range. Okay, now where do we need to start? I want to replace 17, let's say, with 18, so that basically means I need to start from character 7. Okay, and I need to go for 2 characters or 2 spaces there, and the new text is going to be 18. Okay, so I need to put the new text in quotes. Okay, and this is what happens. Okay, now the substitute formula is a little bit different in terms of structure. Now we had here a word which obviously didn't mean, like, you know, anything really, but we need to just replace a specific character there. Let's say if we want to replace the character T there with character B, we can do this. Okay, I just need to replace this with the semicolon again, and this is what happens. Okay, so all the T's are replaced by B, okay, as we specified. So now we actually have a word bubble, right? So I hope that you understand that the difference between replace and substitute here, okay, is mainly the structure and obviously in the way they have to be written. Okay, now going back to the presentation, The next formula is find, a very interesting formula, and what it does is it returns the index position of a specific character, starting from a specified position in the range. The way the formula is structured or is written is, first of all, we need to have the lookup character, okay, this usually in quotes, and then we need to have the lookup range, and an optional thing here is the starting point. I'll show you one example without this option here, and one example with the option as well. Okay, now so what we have here is we have two words. Okay, so now the first example I want to give you is just a simple example without the use of the optional start number obviously operation here. Okay, now we need to find G, the index position of G. We think here, so we think this word, and this is what we do. So the index position of G is actually 1. Right, now if we want to do that here though, what we are going to get without specifying the starting position of the formula is 1, but we might want, let's say, anything after 1. So again, we need to go to the formula and just specify that we want to start from position 2 or from character 2. Now you can see that the next index position for G is actually in character 7, because we have 5 here. Okay, grade obviously has 5 characters, then we have an empty space which is the 6th character, and then the 7th position is actually G. Okay, right, going back now, I want to again leave you at the end of obviously part 3 of this course with what has become like obviously a permanent feature here in this course, with this quote: repetition is the mother of learning. So I really encourage you to just go back, you know, go back to the start of let's say this part 3, and just go over, like, you know, the things that you want to go over, because obviously you'd rather have it, like, you know, clarified, or you'd rather have it, like, you know, clear in your mind, than obviously not knowing it. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to contact me using the comments of this course. I will be answering all the questions there. I really hope that you enjoyed this part, and I'll see you in the next part of the course. Welcome to part 4 of this course. I really hope you're enjoying it so far. And as usual, let's start with the quote of the day. This time it is: have a bias towards action. Let's see something happen now. So the whole point of this is that we need to fight with our procrastination, because otherwise we are gonna be just talkers rather than doers, and we don't really want that. So the first formula today is the hyperlink formula. This is a very useful formula again. It stores a link under a specified name and opens it upon, let's say, clicking that name, for example. The way the formula is structured, you need to have obviously the link location, and after that a friendly name. I've put that obviously in squared brackets because this is an optional thing, really. So let me show you an example of this by going to the spreadsheet. So this is the link that I've got here, okay, and I want to put this as a hyperlink. So hyperlink is going to be this, and I need to select this, okay, and the friendly name is going to be Google, okay. So now okay, I'm using the comma instead of the semicolon again. Okay, so this is what we have. Now if I press here, it will open Google. Okay, so let's see what happens. Right, so here we go, and we have Google here. Okay, so going back to the presentation again, the next two formulas that we have are column and columns. So column will return the column number of the reference cell, but it is going to start the counting from the very first column, or obviously that is going to be column A, okay? Whereas the columns formula, it returns the number of columns within a specific array. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean by that as well. Let me just go to the spreadsheet again. Okay, now if I go to the second example, this example here for these two formulas. Okay, now if I use column, let's say of this cell, okay, we will have column. It will give us 8. Okay, basically means that column H is actually number 8, you know, starting from, let's say, column A. So let me just double check that as well. That's column 1, that's column 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so then it is showing us a correct value here. Okay, now the columns formula, what we need is, for example, let's say this is our array. Okay, so now we have an array of 2 columns, as you can see, column H and column I. Okay, we have not selected the whole columns, but we have, like, you know, at least one cell from both columns. Okay, so now when I close the bracket and press enter, it's going to give me 2, which basically means that I have 2 different columns within the array that I have selected in this formula. Okay, now let me go back again and show you obviously 2 very similar formulas again, but this time for row and rows. Okay, so again the same logic actually follows here as well. So if I go to the example, this is our example spreadsheet. This is what we're gonna have. Okay, so as you can see, the row of cell of obviously L3 is actually 3, right? Because obviously you have column row 1, row 2, row 3. Okay, now if I go and type in the rows formula and select our array here, you're gonna see that we have 2 rows. Okay, and that's why the result, the outcome of the formula, is actually 2 as well. Okay, so going back to the presentation now, I want to show you a few formulas that identify, let's say, errors, and based on, like, you know, what error is actually identified, it returns true or false. Okay, is NA is a formula that returns true if there is an NA error in obviously in Excel. Okay, otherwise it returns false, and all we need to do is actually just select the cell or a value. Okay, and then is basically like is similar to the is error, which we'll be discussing further in this course. Okay, but it returns true if there is an error different than the NA error. Okay, otherwise it returns false. And let me give you the examples to make this more clear, of course. So the example for these two formulas is actually here. Okay, so what we have here is, if I use is NA for this one here, is going to return true, because this is how the NA formula, the NA error actually looks like. This here is not the correct NA error, because the slash here is actually, it is a backwards slash, it is not the forward slash. Okay, so if I type in the same formula again, okay, and select this cell, it is going to return false, right? Okay, so let me show you now the formula. So as you can see, even from the description here, it says checks whether a value is an error excluding NA. Okay, so this, if I select this, it is going to return true, because there is actually an error. Okay, and this error is actually division by 0. Okay, that is different than NA, and that's why it returns true. Okay, but if I try now the is formula on an NA error, it returns false. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation and see what's next. So is even and is odd. Okay, so this is specifically for cells or a range of cells, and we want to check whether the values there are actually even numbers or odd numbers. Okay, and the structure of the two formulas is very simple, of course. And to show you an example of this, I have obviously just created this table here. Okay, and we have an array. The array is here, or the range, and we want to see which ones obviously let's say even numbers here. We are going to start with that. Okay, so we check whether 10 is even. Is it even? It is even. Okay, so now we paste that for all the other cells as well here. Okay, so 7 is an odd number, that's why it returns false. 2, 8 and 6 are obviously even, 1 is odd. Okay, so let me now delete this and try the is odd formula. Okay, is odd, and is 10 is obviously an even number, it's not odd, that's why it returns false. But if we go and paste the formula down as well, we can see that 7 is actually has a value of true, because 7 is an odd number. Same for 1 as well, whereas 2, 8 and 6 are actually false, as they're not actually odd numbers. Okay, so the next two formulas is number and is formula. Okay, so the is number checks whether let's say a specific cell or value within that cell is a number, and it returns true if it is, and if it's not, it returns false. Is formula, it kind of like, you know, does a pretty similar thing really, but it checks whether let's say the specified cell actually has a formula within it. Okay, and returns true if it's obviously a formula, false in all other cases. The example is again here. So let's start with is number. Okay, so this is a number, and I can just go and do all these different things. Just to drag down the formula or paste it down. Okay, so you can see we have true for the first 3 and then false for the next 3. Okay, because obviously the last 3 actually not numbers. So let's try and check now the is formula for the same range of values really. Okay, so it returns false for obviously the first case, because as you can see here we don't really have a formula. Okay, but you can see here it has a value of true. Why is that? Because this is actually a sum, the sum of J12 and J13. Okay, it's actually 8. Okay, so that's why obviously it returns true, and then it returns true here as well, because there is actually a formula. As you can see, this is the formula, and the other two cases are actually false, because one of them is obviously a name, it's purely text. The other one again is like an error, but there's no formula behind it. Okay, now the next two formulas is text and is non-text. I think that obviously you can guess like what they actually do without even reading the explanations. They're very simple formulas, but at the same time very useful as well at times when you have to perform specific analysis. Is text returns true if the specified value is actually text. If it's not text, it's going to return false. The is non-text does exactly the opposite. It returns true if it's not, if the specified value is not a text, and obviously false in all other cases. Okay, so the example is here. Okay, so we can just go and check is text. So is text, it returns true for the first one. And you can see Tim is obviously, that's text really, okay, and that's a name, so that's why it's true. False in all other cases besides the last one, okay, because there's nothing that is actually just purely text. Okay, as you can see, this is actually like a type of error really. There's a formula behind it as well. Okay, so the is non-text is going to do exactly the opposite now. Non-text. Okay, now we have this, and if I just go and paste it everywhere for this range, we can see that it basically did exactly the opposite of what the is text outcomes were. Okay, now the next two formulas are is blank and not. Is blank basically checks again another logical function, and it checks whether the specified cell has anything in it or it is empty. If it is empty, it's going to return true. If it's not empty, it's going to return false. Not basically, it changes the result of a logical operation from, let's say, true to false or false to true. I'll show you an example of that as well. Okay, so going back to this thing here, we have obviously the spreadsheet, and the is blank example is here. Okay, so now if I just go and check whether the cells in obviously the range on the left, this range here, if any of them are obviously blank, it's going to return true. So the first one is true because obviously cell C20 is blank, cell C23 is blank as well, so that's why you have true there as well. But the other two cases are false. Okay, now what we can do is we can just put not, so that you can see how not works here as well. So not will pretty much do the opposite really. So as you can see, now we have the opposite of what we had before. Okay, great. Back to the presentation. The next two formulas are is logical and is ref. Okay, is logical is a formula that purely checks whether let's say there is a logical operation within the brackets. It returns true if there is, returns false if there isn't. The is ref formula checks whether a value is a reference or not, and obviously returns true if it is, false if it's not. The examples here again, so let me show you. First of all, is logical, for example. Okay, is logical, so we need let's say this here. So as you can see, there is an operation inside. It is a logical operation. Okay, it should obviously 4 is not equal to 5, okay, but because there is an operation, there is a logical operation within the brackets, it will return true, okay, and then the isRef, for example, is going to return true if you go and refer to a specific, let's say, cell, as in this case. But if you do this, for example, let's say apples, sorry, okay, so apples, it is going to return false. Right, I hope that you got you know, the logic behind these two formulas. They're quite simple, of course, and quite useful at the same time. Now, back to the presentation. We have another formula here, which is isError. So isError is obviously a formula that is quite similar to the isErr formula that we already discussed, but in the difference between the isErr and the isError formula is that the isError formula will return true even if there is an NA error. So that's why the explanation here specifies any kind of an error. Okay, the structure of the formula is obviously all we need to do is just put the value or obviously like the cell, specified cell there within the brackets. So just to give you the example here as well, let's see. Okay. Okay, so it seems like the example is not here, but we can easily create one, for example. Okay, now we can go back to the isErr where that was and just check, for example, how this works. Okay, now here's what we have. We have the isErr, okay, the isErr returns true on this because obviously the division by 0 is not an NA error, okay, but returns false here, okay, because this is the NA error. But now if we do isError just next to it, what we can do is just go and compare, for example. Okay, now this is what we are going to do. Now, as you can see, this is what makes the difference. What is the difference? What is the main difference between the two formulas? The NA formula. Okay. Now, back to the presentation. I want to thank you for your attention today, and this is obviously the end of this part. And again, I want to leave you with the quote, repetition is the mother of learning, because I want to emphasize on how important it is to just keep repeating something until it is actually obviously remembered in your head as much as possible, really. And I'll see you in the next part of this course. Welcome to part 5 of this course. This part has a specific group of formulas. They're mainly about date and time. But before that, of course, let's start with the quote of the day, the dose of motivation that we all need, really. So today we have big things have small beginnings, and just how true is this? I'll just leave it to you to contemplate, really. The first formula that we are going to look at today is the date formula. The date formula, it is used when you need to get a date of separate kind of like numbers for a year, a month and a day, and basically the structure actually explains that as well. So the structured formula is, first of all, we need to input the year number, then the month, and then the day. So let me give you an example to show you what I mean by that. So here's what we have. So we have separate numbers for year, month and day. Okay, and the date formula is going to just merge really everything into a date. Okay, so this is what we have, 28th of January 2010, just to show you all the other ones as well. So we need, of course, to convert them. You know, the formatting should be as dates really, and this is what we have. Okay, back to the presentation and the next set of formulas, year, month and day. So this is basically the opposite of a little bit the opposite of the date formula. So now the year will return the year from a specified date, the month will return the month, and the day will return the day. Okay, the structure is basically the same. So let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, so now I have prepared here a set of formulas. Okay, not the set of formulas, of course, just a range of dates here. Okay, and now we want to get the year in this column out of the date, and then the month. Okay, that's going to be the 12th month as well, and then the day should be 12 as well. Okay, so what we can do is then just copy paste the formula, just paste the formula in the rest of the table. Okay, so that we can actually have all the years, months and days here as well. Okay, these are very useful formulas when it comes to analyzing specific set of data that has obviously dates in it. Okay, now back to the presentation. The next formula is time, very similar to the date formula. Okay, and now what we have is this formula time is going to get us obviously the time from the separate hour, minute and second, and as I said, very similar to the date formula. Okay, we have the set here, the set of data. Okay, now we need to just type in time and then add the hour, minute and second. Okay, and this is what we are going to have, 5:29 p.m. Okay, now copying that in all the other ones. Now we need to convert to obviously set the format for, of course, date for time. So this is time, right? And this is what we have. Okay, so the other set of formulas are hour, minute and second, very similar again to the year, month and day formulas. Okay, the hour will give us the hour from a specified time, the minute will give us the minute, and second will give us the second respectively. So just to give you the example here as well, as I said, very similar to the year, month and day formulas. Okay, so now what we're gonna have is we're gonna have the hour here. Okay, and we're going to have the minute here. Okay, second as well, and this is what we get. Okay, so just to fill in the whole table here with data, this is what we get. So 22 seconds, 12, 24, etc, etc, etc. Very easy and very convenient formulas. Okay, and it's really good to know them, to have them in mind, because when you analyze big sets of data, you know, they can be very useful. The next set of formulas are obviously the date value and time value. Okay, the date value will return the number format of a date that was formatted as text, and I know it might sound a little bit complicated right now, but I'm sure the example will show you what I mean. Okay, the time value, similar to the date value, will convert a text time obviously time formatted as text to an Excel serial number for time. And let me show you what I mean by giving you the examples, because I'm sure they will clarify this for you. Okay, now I just need to find the formulas, of course. Okay, yeah, so date value and time value. Okay, so as you can see, we have a date here, but here the formatting is actually text. Okay, so that means that this date has been formatted as text. Okay, in order to get just the serial number, serial date number, really, what we do is we type in date value, and after that we select that cell. Okay, so this is the serial number. So if you haven't seen, like, this type of numbers for dates, these are the Excel obviously numbers that are obviously like responding to specific dates, of course. And then the time value, pretty much the same thing. So we have 12 noon time. Okay, so again, it is formatted as text rather than time. And now in order for us to get the time value, we type in the formula, and this is what we get. We get 0.5. So basically it gives us the decimal number here, because it's more like a percentage, really. It basically means it's 50% of the day. So the first 12 hours of the 24 hours that's supposed to go have already gone. Okay, so 12 over 24 is 0.5, of course. Okay, so back to the presentation. The next formula is days 360. This is actually a very useful formula, because it gives you obviously the number of days between two dates. Okay, and it considers a 360 day year. Okay, we start with the start date, and we after that end with the date, with the end date. Okay, the example is here as well. So we have the two dates here, 12th of December 2017 and 12th of August 2018. Okay, in order for us to get the difference in days based on a 360 day year, we need to select the start and end dates. Okay, so we have 240 days here. Okay, now back to the presentation. We have eDate. eDate is a formula which returns basically the serial number of the date, that is the indicated number of months before or after the start date. So what I mean by that is, I'm going to show you now, of course, but before that, the structure is, first of all, we need to have a start date and then number of months. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by that. So we have the eDate here. Okay, now the eDate formula, once we type that in, now we need the start date, of course, and now this is 10th of January 2019. Okay, I wanted to go 3 months from that date and to show me the date then. Okay, so basically it is going to show me 10th of April 2019. Okay, so basically what this formula does is it basically takes an input from the user, of course, and that input is first of all the start date, and after that the number of months that we need to go forward, really, that you want to kind of like look at the date, let's say a specific number of months from now. What we can do, we can also type, let's say 20 months. Okay, so what's going to happen, this is going to give us 10th of September 2020. Okay, same for this date as well. We can just go and type obviously the formula, and then go, let's say 8 months from now, from that date, of course. And again, this is the Excel number, so we need to obviously convert that to a date. So the date is going to be 1st of June 2020. Okay, the next formula is end of month. So the end of month formula is very similar to the previous formula, to the previous formula, which was a date here, okay? But instead of like the specific date, let's say 3 or 4 months from now, it gives you the end of the month after, let's say, 3 or 4 or 10 months, for example. Again, the structure of the formula is is basically the same as the eDate function, okay? And just to give you an example now, what is going to happen now is we have 2 dates, okay? The first date is 26th of January 2010, okay? So what we can do is we can just type in the end of month formula and open the brackets and then take that date, of course, and go, let's say, 3 months from then, okay? So you can see, let me just change the format again of this date. You can see we have 30th of April 2010. As you can see, we want to go 3 months from that date, really, okay? And 3 months from that date, for example, if it's not end of date, end of month formula, if it's eDate, for example, it is going to give us 26th of April, but in this case it gives us the end of the month, okay? Again, same thing here as well. We can go and type end of month, okay, and then select, let's say, 12 months from then, and what we're going to have is after changing the format, of course, is 30th of September 2017. Okay, now the next formula is the workday formula. What it does is it returns the serial number of the date before or after a specified number of work days. Okay, so let me give you an example to see so that you can actually see what I mean by this. Now, going back to the presentation again, we can do this. Now, work day, and you can type in the start date and then obviously days. Okay, so if we want to go 1 day from that specific date, okay, we type in that, and now we want to convert this to obviously the date format, okay? So now, as you can see, all of a sudden it gives us 4th of April, 4th of March 2019 instead of, let's say, giving us 2nd of March 2019, because as you can see, we set like, 1 day difference here, okay? But because it's a workday formula, it purely gives us the next working day after this date, okay? Because we have obviously specified here as days just 1, okay? So instead of giving us 2nd of March, because it gives us 4th, because 2nd and 3rd are actually Saturday and Sunday, and they're not working days, okay? The next formula is EFRAC, and this formula is quite useful, of course, and I personally really like it, because when I have to analyze big sets of data that have obviously a lot of dates there as well, and sometimes I need to kind of like just get a fraction, like just the percentage fraction between 2 days, for example, based on a specific, let's say, a 360-day year, for example, or something like that. I use this formula, okay? And what it does is purely returns the difference between the 2 days as a fraction of the year, okay? We have obviously a start date, an end date, okay? And then we have the basis as well, which is just an optional thing, really, but I'm gonna show you that as well. The EFRAC is here, okay? Now we have the 2 days here, okay? And we want to get the fraction as a percentage, really, okay? So EFRAC, and we have this date, we have the end date as well, and now we can use the basis. So usually you have several options here, so I usually select the actual over 365 days, okay? because what this is going to give us, it is going to give us the difference between these two dates, okay, and then it's going to divide that by 365 days instead of 360, for example, etc, etc, etc. Okay, now let's select 3 here, okay, and see what happens. So as you can see, 0.23 238356, of course, okay, which is around a quarter of a year. Okay, right, back to the presentation. This is, of course, the usual slide with which I kind of like finish the specific part of the course as well, and again you have the same quote, and again I'm gonna say it, I'm just gonna keep saying it at the end of each part, and how important it is to just keep repeating what you have already learned, because as the quote has it, you know, repetition is the mother of learning. And if you have any questions, please do let me know in the comment section of this course. I'll see you in the next part of the course. Welcome to part 6 of this course, which is called Master Excel Formulas, Make the Leap to the Next Level. This is the second to last part, of course. And as usual, we will start with a small dose of motivation. Today's quote of the day is, each step you take reveals a new horizon. You have already taken many steps, and now I challenge you to take another. I decided to include this quote here because kind of it fits my view of the world and of life as well, and I really hope that obviously it can provide you with some extra bit of motivation. Okay, now starting with the first formula for today, that is the search formula. Search is a function that returns the location of a text in a string. So if you probably remember that we already discussed a function that is similar to this, that is obviously the find function. Okay, so that's why I have written here, I have obviously put a question, what is the difference between find and search? We will go through that as well, but before that I just wanted to go through the structure of the search function as well. Okay, so first of all we need to specify the text that we want to find, then within what text we need to find it, so that's obviously our string, and the optional thing here is the starting number or starting position as well. Okay, now let me give you an example here as well, and now as you can see here, I have provided an example where we have all the different things within the structure of the search formula and within the structure of the find formula, and these are obviously the find text, within text, and the optional start number or starting position. Okay, now let's try and first of all do something without the option, just type in the formulas without the optional argument here. Okay, so if I start with find, and then obviously we need to find a within here. Okay, and then just do this. Okay, so you can see the find formula tells us that a can be found in the first position, or that's the first character of the word apple. Okay, so search will basically give us the same thing really, and the same outcome. Okay, so here there's no difference. Okay, so we have a capital letter, and the capital letter here is obviously A as well. Right, now let's go to the second example here. Okay, so now we have a capital P, and we need to find that within the word apple. Okay, Now we just go and type the formulas again, okay, and we start position 1 this time, and as you can see, we have occurred an error using the find formula. Okay, let's see what the search function will give us as an outcome here. So you can see that the search formula gives us 2 as the outcome here, okay, which basically means that the first time the search formula finds a P within the word apple is in second position. Okay, so the difference between the two formulas, search and find, is very obvious here, okay, because as you can see, the find formula differentiates between a capital letter and obviously a lowercase letter as well. Okay, so that's why it returns an error, whereas the search formula does not differentiate between a capital or lowercase p here, and that's why it gives us 2. Okay, and now if I just copy the formulas here, what is going to happen, as you can see in the third example, now the find formula will give us a starting position of 12 here for the, because first of all it does not consider the first there because it starts with a capital letter, whereas the search formula, not differentiating between capital and lowercase letters, it starts at position 1. Okay, now the fourth example, you can see the find formula occurs a mistake, an error again, okay, and that is because it does not go into kind of finding, wildcards, and that's why it comes up with an error here, whereas for example the search formula, it allows for wildcards as well, okay, and that's why it comes up with position 6. As you can see, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 obviously different, and then after that it goes and it identifies the wildcard here. Okay, now going back to the presentation, what the next thing we have is 2 formulas, rand and run between, okay, and they're quite useful as well, especially I would say probably the second one. What, let's say, run between does is it returns a number between obviously the number specified, between the numbers specified by the user, so we need to have a bottom and a top number here, okay, whereas rand, it generates random number which is bigger than 0 and obviously smaller than 1. Okay, so let me give you an example, see how the formulas actually work. So run, for example, is going to be in this range, so equals run, and this is what we get here. Okay, so if we type the formula in the other cells as well, we get just random numbers. Okay, as for example here now we can specify actually a bottom and a top number. So let's say if we want to get random numbers between 1 and 10, again I've used the comma instead of the semicolon, okay, we get 3 here. So integers, so the difference is that obviously run between returns integer numbers, whereas rand returns purely obviously decimal numbers. Okay, so back to the presentation, we have the next set of formulas, which are obviously int and trunc. So both formulas allow the user to get, let's say, the integer part of a decimal by rounding down, for example. Okay, now trunc will obviously do that as well if you do not specify anything in the optional part of obviously the formula, which is obviously the number of digits. Okay, and what we can do, I can show you now how these two formulas work in practice. So we have these formulas here, okay, we have the examples, sorry, here, okay, and if we use int, okay, we can let's say select this one and we get 4, okay. So we always get the integer here, okay. And trunc, for example, if we do not specify let's say any optional argument here, it will always give us the integer as well, okay. But if I were to specify, let's say 1, again the colon, it will leave one number after the decimal point, okay. So this is obviously the difference between the two functions in this case, but as I said, if the optional argument in the trunc function is not used, it will always give you the integer part of the number. Back to the presentation, the next function that we have is mod. So mod is a function that returns the remainder after a number is divided by a divisor, of course. So we need to have the number and we need to have the divisor as well. The example for this is obviously in the spreadsheet as well. I just need to find it. It should be down here. Okay, so here's what we have. Okay, now if we use mod to divide, let's say 10 and 5, we are going to get 0 as mod. Because obviously the remainder is 0 because 10 divided by 5 is 2, so there is no remainder, okay. Whereas, for example, if we go and do that to the second thing, we can see that there is a remainder of 1, and the logic behind it is because 13 divided by 2 is actually 6 with the remainder of 1, and this remainder is actually this formula here, okay. Now just to populate the rest of the cells here in this range as well, we can see 17 divided by 3, 19 divided by 9 as well. They both have remainders of 2, okay. Back to the presentation, the next formula is mround. This is a pretty good formula and I really like it, and you will see why. But first of all, what the formula does is it returns a number to the desired multiple, okay. And it might sound a little bit confusing at the moment, but you will see what I mean when I give you the example here, okay. So as you saw from the structure of the formula, the formula should have a number and a multiple here, okay. So that's why I have two columns here that have numbers, and obviously these are the multiples as well, okay. So let's start with the first example. So we enter our number here and then the multiple as well, okay. So what this is going to give us is going to give us 9, because the nearest multiple, the nearest number that is actually divisible by 3 without any remainders is actually 9, okay. So that's the nearest number to 10, of course, okay. 12 is also divisible by 3, but 12 is further away from 10 than obviously 9 is from 10, okay. So based on that logic, you can see now the other examples as well. So here we are going to get 49 because 49 is the nearest number that is divisible by 7 here, okay. The other number is 42 and the difference is 4. 42 to 46 is the difference is 4, whereas the difference between 49 and 46 is 3, okay. Right, this is, as I said, like, a very useful formula, and it can help you in a variety of situations once you start analyzing data. Okay, back to the presentation. We have another interesting formula here, which you might have heard of as obviously more like a way to based specific, let's say, data, some data that you have copied, and then obviously you go and, like, you transpose it somewhere else. But this is actually a function that obviously does the same thing really. It converts a vertical range of cells to a horizontal range and vice versa. And the structure of the formula is all we need to do really is like input the array within the brackets of the transpose function. Now I have put a note here as well, as you can see, because this is an array formula, okay, and in order for the formula to work, we need to enter it with a control plus shift plus enter instead of just enter click, okay. So I'll show you what I mean. Let me go to the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, now we have the transpose example here. Okay, now first of all, when using this function, we need to make sure that we have selected as many cells as obviously the size of the array that we are going to use. As you can see, we have 4 cells in the vertical array, and now we have selected 4 cells in the horizontal array as well. Okay, so now you start typing the transpose function, okay, and you open the bracket, and we need to obviously specify the array here, okay. Once you close the bracket, now instead of just pressing enter, you need to press Control Shift Enter, and that's what we're going to do here, okay. And this is what we get. We get the same data but in horizontal order rather than a vertical one. And up here you can actually see what the Control Shift and Enter combination does to the formula. It inserts braces here at the beginning and at the end of the formula. Okay, now going back to the presentation, the next formula we have is actually the address formula. Okay, now what this formula does, it creates a cell reference as text given a row and column numbers. So you can see the structure of the formula here, okay, and I will show you what all these different arguments of the structure of the formula actually do. Okay, now going back here, we can just go to the address formula here. Okay, now these are the 4 different obviously options that we can get using the address formula. Let's take an example, obviously cell A1, okay, because obviously that's what we're going to reference here anyway. So if we just type in the address formula, okay, and now I will input for row numbers, I want to input the first row, okay, and then the column number should be 1 as well. So the first row and the first column, so that cell basically is what we are looking for, but instead of the comma, I need to use semicolon again, okay. And now the absolute obviously reference is here, okay. We can choose whether to be whether this should be like an absolute reference, okay. By if we press 1, what we're gonna get is obviously this, which is the same as on the left, okay. So you can see these dollar signs here. It basically means that both the column and the row are actually fixed, okay. Now if we go and change this, we can see that number 2 is absolute row and relative column, okay, which basically means that the column is actually not fixed, but the row is fixed, okay. And the opposite of this is number 3, where we have relative row, absolute column, and this is what we have. The dollar sign is actually before the column A here, okay. And now if we want just a purely relative reference, we can just go and choose number 4, which is going to be A1 without any dollar signs, and this is the relative reference in its entirety. Okay. And just going back to the presentation now, the next two formulas are actually true and false. So I'm not really sure how often you will actually come across these formulas, or you will obviously need to use them, but they're quite useful as well. Okay, especially when you need to put in a specific range, let's say the values of true or the values of false, etc, etc, etc. Okay, now let me give you the example, see how this works. So very simple here. Okay, you just type in true and then opening and closing brackets. Okay, and we get true here. Okay, whereas false is obviously the same, but instead of true we type false and we get false as well. As I said, I'm not really sure how many times you're gonna have to use these two formulas, but they're quite useful, especially let's say if you have a range and you want to indicate, for example, whether whether there are any let's say blank cells within that range, and obviously if there are, you can, let's say, put true. If there aren't, you can put false, but that again is another matter, of course. Okay, so going back to the presentation, the next formula is a formula which is very frequently used, especially with combination of other formulas as well. Okay, but here I will just show you like how this formula works on its own. Okay, so what it does is it returns a valid reference from a text string. Okay, and the structure of the formula is as is shown here. Okay, all we need really is a reference text. Okay, and let me just give you an example to show you how this works. So we have put here sheet 1 as the name of the sheet. Okay, that we're going to reference to. Okay, because as you can see we have sheet 1 here as well, and let me show you that we have a value of 100 in cell A1. Okay, so because we're going to reference that cell. Okay, now if I type in indirect and first of all just go, for example, and do this, and then after that we need to do this, and then we need A1 as the okay, so here we need to put the obviously quotes. Okay, now we will get the value in cell A1 in sheet 1. Okay, as you can see we got the value of 100. Okay, now it's important, this formula is quite important because we can use it in a combination, let's say, with VLOOKUP when we're trying to VLOOKUP something from another sheet. But if that sheet, let's say, changes a name, or for example there is a deletion, like something has been deleted there, and that is, let's say, part of the range that we have specified within the VLOOKUP formula without using the indirect, what we will probably come across is an error, okay, in the name of the sheet. So that's why we can obviously use the indirect formula. Okay, we will discuss obviously the combination of indirect and other formulas within the next section. Right, going back to the presentation now, we have another formula here which again can help you when analyzing a lot of data, and when you want to actually kind of identify the type of the error, let's say that that has obviously been shown, for example. Okay, and basically what this formula error.type does is it returns a number matching an error value. Okay, the structure is obviously of the formula is all we need to do is just input the cell or the range here. Okay, now going back here, I will show you what I mean by starting to type the formula, and look at this now. So all these different errors, they have a matching number here as well. Okay, so now by writing the errors here on the side and by using this formula, I will get the matching number for that error. Okay, so how does that work? Look at that now. So we need to obviously select K21 in this case, and then close the bracket. Okay, and then we get number 1. So the null error is actually error number 1. Okay, and then we can paste the formula for all the other cells here in this range, and we can actually see what the matching numbers or what the numbers of the respective errors here are. Okay, and with this, part 6 of the course is actually done. It is completed. As usual, I would like to leave you with this amazing quote that the repetition is the mother of learning, and it has helped me through a lot of things, really, like learning a lot of things as well over the years as well. And I really hope that you will take the time to go through some of the things that we have already discussed. And if you have any questions, please do let me know in the comment section of this course. I'll see you in the next part of the course. Welcome to part 7 of this course, which is also the last part of the course for now. And let's start with obviously the quote of the day, which today is: appreciate what you have done so far, but never be satisfied with only with that. This is something that we should all kind of keep in our heads, really, and just to stay hungry and keep improving in the industries and spheres that we want to improve. So this last part I have actually named it Extra 5, because I have provided 5 different examples of combinations of formulas, some of the most kind of frequently used combinations, really, and how they're used as well. And obviously some further guidance in terms of obviously examples and what else can be actually learned in terms of, like, the Excel formulas. Okay, the first formula here is the combination here is if error and VLOOKUP. This is something that I have discussed in previous parts of the course as well. I have given an example there, but I wanted to make sure that it is clear enough for you as well. So that's why I've kind of obviously put it here in this section. So what it does, it basically ensures that a specific value is returned if an error occurs in the VLOOKUP formula. Okay, and this is the structure of the formula. You have the VLOOKUP part here. Okay, and in case obviously that this part returns an error, this second part will actually activate, and this is going to be the outcome that we're going to receive. Okay, now to give you an example of that, I will show you this. Okay, now what we have here is we have two arrays here. Okay, name and age. Okay, and now we are going to try and find the age for the people in this array. Okay, and we can do that by using the if error VLOOKUP combination. So this is how you type it, of course, and now we need to select obviously E4, which is obviously our first name, and now we need to select obviously the range. I am going to fix that range using the dollar signs with F4, and we want to return values from column 2. Okay, exact values. And now in case that there is an error in the VLOOKUP part of the formula, we will ensure that let's say a specific outcome is actually shown in that case. So we can just put not found. Okay, now I have used comma instead of semicolon, so that's why I need to change it. But this is what we get. Okay, so Ken is obviously 44, so you can see here that that is correct. Okay, now if we just copy all these or copy the formula to the cells here, you can see that Bob, Richard and Greg cannot be actually found within here, and therefore that's the VLOOKUP part of the formula has come up with a mistake, with an error here, and the second part of our formula has been activated, which is obviously this thing here, and that's why we get the result not found. I really hope that this formula is clear enough for you, and again I'm going to say that if error is can be used, of course, with a number of formulas really, but I have decided to give you an example with VLOOKUP because obviously VLOOKUP is another formula that is among the most frequently used in Excel. Okay, going back to the presentation, the second combination of formulas that we have is we have let's say 2 to 3 formulas: left, len and find. Okay, now I'm going to show you first of all a combination of the first 2 formulas, okay, and then we will discuss the obviously last part of this formula as well. Okay, so what this does is it allows you it allows basically for a specific number, usually different number in various cells, of characters to be returned. Okay, so let me give you an example to see what I mean here. So the example is here, and I have put that as left and len example. So if you remember, the left function ensures that, let's say, a specific number of characters from left to right is actually shown as a result. But again, we have the len function, and the length function is actually it gives you the length of let's say a specific range, okay, which in this case is this range here. What day is it today? Okay, now let me show you an example of this as well. Now we can type in left, and now we can select this, and in order for us to decide how many, let's say, characters we need to obviously extract or to show, we can use the len function, okay, which is used in this so obviously in this way, okay, and then we can say let's say minus 5. Okay, now what we are going to get here is let me just change the comma with semicolon, and what we're going to get here is an extraction of the first range, and the last word here in the range has been obviously missed, has been skipped, because obviously that's what this part does. So it ensures that only all characters or all positions of this in this range up to the last 5 characters are returned. Okay, and that's why you have what day is it instead of what day is it today. Okay, now another way we can use this is obviously by adding the find formula. Okay, now what we can do is we can start typing this thing again, left. Okay, and now we can just use this range again. Now we need to find the length of the formula of the range. Again, Okay, we did this, and then we can, instead of like specifying let's say a hard number, let's say as in our previous example it was 5, we can use the find formula, and we can just try and find, let's say, D in this case. Okay, now we are going to find that within here. Okay, and we are going to start at position 1 as well. So now we close all the brackets here, and what we are going to get is this. Okay, so you can see that the result is actually the same. Okay, now why is that? So first of all, we have length here. Okay, now the length of the this range here is we have to count, of course, but let's say a specific number. Now what we can do is we can actually go to the find part of the formula, because here we can see clearly that D is actually in position 6. Okay, and now we have the length of this whole range minus 6 instead of 5. Okay, so the only difference between obviously this one and this one is that here we have the empty space as well. So this empty space has been included. Okay, whereas here we don't have the empty space that has been obviously included within the first example. Okay, now you can use obviously instead of left you can use right, you can use mid as well. So all these functions we have discussed them already. Okay, but I have decided to use the left here to just show you the example with left, because it is one of the most frequently used examples and formulas in Excel when it comes to text, of course. Okay, now going back to the presentation, we have the third combination of formulas, which is number, value and left. Okay, so this combination ensures that the return value is in a number format. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Okay, I'll show you in a little bit with the example. Okay, so suppose we have a number here. Okay, and this number is obviously, let's say, in number format. Okay, now if I just use left, just the left formula, and I want to get the first 4 characters, let's say this is going to be again semicolon instead of comma. This is going to be 0411. Okay, but this is actually formatted as text. Okay, it's not formatted as a number. So in this case, in order to make sure that the outcome is actually a number instead of a text, we use the number value formula here together with left. Okay, and we just go select that and again 4, and we close the brackets. So you can see now this is on the right. Why is that on the right of the cell? Because the number formatted values are always on the right, whereas for example the text formatted values are on the left, and you can see the difference here between obviously the first example and the second example. Okay, now let's go back to the presentation. Again, I have used the left function, but obviously the right function, mid function, they can be used as well. Okay, in this example, so the next formula, the next combination of formulas is if together with and or. So again, these are logical functions. Okay, and what they do is that they ensure that a specific value, that obviously this combination of formulas returns a specific value only when all conditions are true, or at least one condition is true, depending on whether we use AND or OR. Okay, so let me give you an example here as well. It's a very interesting example. So what we have here is, let's say we have expected, let's say, delivery for a specific, let's say, item. So we have the item number range here, the delivery date range here, the quantity range is here as well, and the criteria now are to find we need to find basically the volumes, the delivery volumes, the quantities for item 245, and the date is 1st of March 2019. Okay, now the way we do that is we can use this if together with AND. So if I use AND here, okay, now this assumes that obviously in order for the AND part of the formula to be true, okay, we need to ensure that both operations that we're going to use here are true as well. Okay, so this basically suggests that we need to ensure that this should be equal to this. So okay, now let me just make it fixed as well. Okay, and now the second operation is going to be that the date is equal to the specified date in the criteria range. Okay, now in case that the AND function is or the AND part of the formula returns true, okay, we want the result column to show, let's say, the quantity. Okay, and instead of the comma we use the semicolon again. So this is what we do. Okay, otherwise just we need just to show empty space, for example. Okay, now let's try and see how the formula works. Okay, so now we get 24, okay, for the first example. As you can see, we have 3 cells that are obviously left empty, okay, and there are only 2 cells with numbers or quantities. Okay, why is that? Because based on the conditions that we inserted, okay, this number here, this item number, is equal to the condition here, okay, and obviously the delivery date here is equal to this delivery date that we inserted as condition, and the same goes for obviously this row as well. Okay, so that's why we only have values in these 2 cells. Right, you can use OR as well, obviously in different scenarios again, but this is obviously the method or the logic behind using a combination of if and or if and AND. Okay, going back to the presentation, the next combination of formulas is VLOOKUP and indirect. Indirect was discussed in part 6 of this course, and basically it ensures that a correct or a valid reference is actually put within a formula, for example. Okay, now what does the VLOOKUP and indirect combination do? It ensures that the sheet reference in the lookup range is typed in a way that will not bring a reference mistake here. This is usually the mistake that obviously comes up when something within the lookup range for the VLOOKUP part has, let's say, been deleted. That's obviously when you don't use indirect. Okay, and this is the structure. Okay, the indirect goes here, okay, within the lookup part of the lookup range part of the formula. Okay, and now let me give you an example to show you what I mean. Okay, so as you can see, I have two tabs here. The first is obviously called Extra, the second one is called Sheet 1. And Sheet 1, the name of the tab has obviously been added here in this cell as well. Okay, now in Sheet 1 we have obviously like two columns of data. Okay, we have the retailers and we have their, let's say, turnover for a month, for example. Okay, now going back to the Extra tab, what we're trying to do here, we will try to get the turnover for the different retailers. The way to do that is obviously by using VLOOKUP, and obviously we start with the lookup value, and this is the lookup value. Okay, now in the lookup range part of the formula we will insert indirect. Okay, now how do we do this? Okay, first of all we need to select T4, okay, where obviously the sheet name is actually inserted, you know, for Sheet 1, and after that we do this, we insert and then we go with a quote. Okay, we need an exclamation mark, and now we need obviously a range. What is our range going to be? We can also just put, let's say, C1 to D100, because obviously our data is in columns C and D in the Sheet 1 tab. Okay, and now we need to close the quote. Okay, and just close the bracket for the indirect part. Okay, now we need to return information from column 2 from the lookup range, and we need exact match. Okay, so let's see what we're going to get here. Okay, and as you can see we get 1000 here for Tesco. Let's check whether the result is correct. The result is correct, as you can see. Okay, now we can do that for the rest of the retailers as well, but before that we need to make sure that the range is actually fixed with $signs. Okay, now what we can do is put $signs for the range here as well, just by copying, for example, or just using F4. And here we need to make sure that this is fixed as well. Okay, now and the end result is going to be now this. Okay, now we managed to get the turnover for all the retailers here. Okay, using the indirect reference instead of just purely using a normal reference, which is actually open to mistakes, and once mistakes happen within obviously the lookup range part of the formula, we will have obviously an error for the whole formula. Right, this is the last combination of formulas that we have. I really hope that you enjoyed the course as much as I did, and I wanted to thank you for signing up for this course, and hopefully I have provided you with a good foundation in terms of the Excel formulas, and hopefully they're going to help you in your future endeavors. Before saying goodbye though, I would like to again leave you with my most favorite quote: repetition is the mother of learning, and to say that if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me using the comment section of the course. Thank you and goodbye.